So joining us now is Greg Lebreton, the head of the science department at Stephen Lewis Secondary School in Mississauga. And he's here today to talk about the potential impact of investing in and supporting students' early access to cutting-edge technology and innovative learning. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
We are all about supporting STEM. For young people, and for those of you who don't know yet, science, technology, engineering, and math. Now, why do you think it's so important?
Well, I love science, obviously. That's why I teach it. But beyond that, I think if you peer into the future, into your crystal ball, you're going to find that a lot of careers and a lot of society's concerns, environmental, population growth, are really going to be depending on STEM careers to find solutions to them. And so I think if we can encourage students and get them excited about STEM careers and STEM pathways and just the research that goes behind that, then I think we're going to equip them for the future much better than we have in the past.
Well, last year, the school began using the Amgen Biotech Experience Labs, and you say because of that, students are increasingly charting additional paths. What does that mean?
Well, one of the things we find with some of the students in our school is that they've got maybe two pathways. They can be doctors or they can be engineers. And by showing them cutting-edge technologies from a variety of different careers, then what we end up doing is we end up opening those pathways up to so many more places in STEM careers that they can go and investigate things. So you've got environmental consulting, and you've got food technologies, and you've got so many other places that what we're doing with the Amgen Biotechnology Experience that can open those doors up to. So with that in mind, I think it's really important that when we do these labs in the class, we look at where these kids are going and what they're doing with them.
So how does it give them an interactive experience? How does it actually work?
So you can imagine a lab in CSI where you've got the micropipettes and you've got all the different colored gels.
And they solve all the crime within
and they solve
43 minutes and we're done.
Right, in 30 minutes. We have 75 minutes to solve the lab. But I mean, really, you're dealing with the same kind of equipment. So you've got centrifuges and you've got UV light showing glowing DNA and glowing proteins moving through gels, and kids are taking pictures with their cell phones, and they're really, really engaged because they can see the actual technology that's on TV that you'd normally only see. And so it's a very hands-on experience for the students, but it also gives them responsibility for doing the real research. And so they have to figure out what is going on in that lab so that they can be successful and they can actually get the results that are expected out of what we've given them.
How would you say that then this new approach to science education is changing not only their learning experience, which you did, but the outcomes? Have you seen anything yet?
Well, the real change that we've made here is that we're building community partners, and we're building bridges between other institutions and corporations and our schools. And so we're trying to unsilo the high school. And so you used to go to high school and you'd leave high school. And what we're trying to do is build it into a community system where institutions such as universities and institutions or corporations such as Amgen come in and bring in their expertise and understanding to students, so that what we're doing is we're making it a much more dynamic learning ecosystem for students to really enjoy what they're doing and become engaged in the science behind it. So that's the real difference. I mean, labs have been done in high school for 1,000,000 years, but cutting edge labs haven't. So if you have a high school teacher who's been teaching high school for 10 years, technology has changed so much in those 10 years. There's no way that teacher knows cutting edge stuff. So if we can bridge those gaps and we can bring corporations in who have that cutting edge technology, then we can actually make a difference in those students' lives.
But also you can start to mine people who have children who have that skill and don't even know they have it, and then start to put a little imagination in there, and they can see a whole range of potential things that they might want to do, because even the cutting-edge technology is not going to be the same. The jobs that are available now, by the time those kids are through university, not going to be the same.
You're absolutely right. But I think what you're really drilling down to is we're making education fun again.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. I mean, you can't put a kid through 4 years of high school and expect him to read about exciting stuff out of a textbook. It's got to be hands-on, and it's got to be in their face, and it's got to be something they want to do. And especially today when we have so many other distractions, including cell phones, you've got to make it something that they want to be there to enjoy.
Is this the only high school that's doing this?
No, not at all. There's many high schools and many different boards in Ontario that are enjoying, the support of the Amgen Foundation. So there's
What about
lots.
across the country?
There's 28 different schools who are participating right now, I think in 8 different school boards. And it's growing. So it's slow. The rollout is really well done because we want to make sure that the uptake is done properly. It's extremely well organized by the University of Toronto at Mississauga, and it has been done so well. It's so well organized that the equipment comes to us. It's all color-coded. The labs are really, really well put together, and it's just going to take time for us to get more and more labs out to other students.
Okay, on that point, I've got to wonder if there are any parents that have raised any concern about corporate culture. I mean, Amgen's a big, pharmaceutical company. Are there concerns? We used to see this with soft drink, containers. So has anybody raised any concerns about the connection?
I think what's really amazing is how out of the way Amgen has put themselves. I mean, Amgen is doing an incredibly great job with their foundation of supporting this, but it's not a branding job. It's not a job in the classroom where Amgen is splashed all over everything. What's splashed all over everything is the incredible education that students are getting. And it's the equipment that they're using. And you don't, it's not that, this is a real PR campaign for Amgen. This is science in the classroom, and it comes in as kits, and it's simply equipment that students are using.
That's wonderful.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So the program is on track to reach about 900 plus students in the 2018 to 2019 year. You were right, in 28 schools across the different school boards. So you said that it's important to get the kids interested early. How early? If you had your druthers, how early would you start?
We could do this right in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about science is that toddlers are scientists, and they'll experiment with everything, which is why you end up with such a mess in your house sometimes. So
that peanut butter sandwich in the VCR comes to mind.
and we can do this. We can do this in elementary as well, and maybe in elementary it would be better because in high school I have students for 75 minutes a day. In elementary, I would have students all day long.
Right.
And so we can play with science in elementary so much longer and dive so much deeper sometimes than they can in high school. That said, students in high school have much greater abilities and much greater dexterity to use the equipment, the expensive equipment that's being brought in by Amgen. So there are different places to put different kinds of equipment and different places to put different curricula for sure.
But perhaps going forward, it could be not dumbed down, but brought down for that age group, because I think a lot of children may have closed doors by the time they come to high school.
Well, I think the one thing that I would really kind of throw out there is that maybe there's lots of other corporations out there who could do this. There's lots of other things that we can do to bring in for chemistry, to bring in for physics, and to really enjoy in an elementary school classroom and to have kids just playing with science, because it's so cool and so exciting.
So you really, you think in the time period that you've been working with this program, that the students, it's now opened the portals, if you were, to them to pursue interests beyond becoming a physician. They're seeing more options.
Absolutely. And, if you look into the future and you look at what society is going to be worried about in the future, population growth, environmental concerns, supplying 8 billion people with enough food. These are all areas that we're going to have to research, and they're all areas that the Amgen Biotech experience targets really, really well. So it broadens their field that they can go into, and then they have a great heads up on where to go into university or where to go into college and what to do with their STEM experience and understanding.
Does it help if students and parents go to their school and say they want this in the school?
Absolutely. And, if parents know somebody who is in a corporation or an institution who think, maybe they could come into my school and they could offer some expertise, that's how we have to start. We have to start building bridges through networking and just simple face-to-face contact. And it's about building relationships.
That doesn't sound highly technical.
Not really.
So where can people go to learn more?
So if you want to learn more about the Amgen Biotech experience, you can certainly go type into Google Amgen Foundation Canada, and that will certainly pull up some really great videos showing the experience that students have had. And they can certainly contact Peel District School Board if they're interested in what's going on right now.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you very much for telling us about it. And Greg Lebreton, at the head of the science department at Stephen Lewis Secondary School in Mississauga. I think you're onto something.
I hope so.
She said